Bitcoin didn't spend too long below $60,000, and we are already now approaching our key resistance zone at 63. So we're going to be breaking this down in this YouTube video. I think that there are amazing opportunities starting to open up in this market with the fact that Bitcoin has gotten a second bounce off this level. And I want to talk to you if we can actually start breaking these resistance levels and setting those all-time highs that we've been looking forward to for a long time. So if you're excited for this one like I am, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Double check, of course, that you are subscribed. And while you're down there, you got some huge bonuses you can check out with the links in the description, pending your country's local laws and regulations. Check them out. But we'll come back to the video here for a second because Bitcoin managed to get a very important bounce off this level. We got a quick kind of liquidity hunt below 60K, and we're already back up. But the biggest thing, the most critical point that I need to make with you all in this YouTube video, ladies and gents, is that nothing Bitcoin has done matters until and unless we start breaking resistance levels. And in terms of resistance levels that are up ahead, I've got 63K, basically 62.9 painted on this chart, and I've got 65K here. A final support level, resistance level, which is worth drawing, is going to be this one up here at about 66.5, and that is the most recent kind of major high that Bitcoin set. So these yellow lines are kind of be these next zones of resistance that I'm interested in for the market. We haven't flipped any of them yet, so it's very, very early days. I think it's entirely possible that Bitcoin finds another rejection here, punches in a subsequently lower high in this super short-term downtrend. We have been punching in, of course, lower lows. And so I think it's totally possible that Bitcoin finds resistance here and then drops back down. But if it doesn't, we're pretty good, right? We've got some really nice runway to get up to $65,000. I think it's a near guarantee that we're going to get there if we can get above 63. And we can see this, right? This zone has acted as resistance historically, kind of stopping the price from continuing to move up. But as soon as we get above this level, it's a big jump up, right? And that actually really allows us to kind of analyze this price range and understand what might happen if Bitcoin overcomes 63K. Again, just take a look at how consistent the rejections are from this level. But as soon as you get above it, look at how quickly you start moving, right? It's across the board. This is a very, very important level. We're getting big reversals being produced off this price level, which took Bitcoin from, in this case, 63K all the way up to 72K, right? Big price jumps coming off this price level as well. So it's definitely an important level. And that's why I don't want to act like it's a certainty that we're going to break this resistance level. But it's also why I think if we can get above this resistance level, it's actually going to be really good for us, right? Because we're going to be able to very quickly continue moving up to the next level, as we've seen historically, all the way across the board. Like I said, break the level and you're up to the next resistance, no problem, right? It might take a little bit of time. Usually it doesn't, though. Usually it's pretty quick. So that's what I'd be expecting here. And so we come to the next question, which is, well, how likely are we to break this level? And that's a much more difficult question to ask. But the good news is that, at the time of me recording this video, the time of you watching, you might already have an answer. We're very, very close to this level. If we get a rejection, then, whatever, we still have support down here. I'm not going to be expecting 60K to hold very well. So I think that if we do end up getting back below, to me, that's going to be a pretty obvious sign this thing is about to roll over. But as it is right now, it's still looking pretty damn decent. If we look at the S&P 500, there's no reason to be worried right now. The S&P 500 has just set a brand new, fresh all-time high today, which is fantastic. By the way, Tesla just had their massive We Robot event. Their stock dumped a little bit. I've done a little bit of analysis on Tesla. I actually posted it on my Twitter. So look at this. My Twitter feed is just full of some Trump and Kamala stuff, and then old Tesla. And what I think is super, super interesting is what's been going on here. So if you're interested in getting another video on that, make sure that you follow me on Twitter, because that's where it's going to be posted. And just let me know in the comment section if you even want to see that. I'd be curious how many of you guys are interested. But moving it back to the video here, like I said, traditional finance is looking pretty sweet right now. The dollar has dipped down. Clearly it's a good environment for a very small dip, but it is still a dip nonetheless. It's clearly a good environment for Bitcoin right now. So look, I think everything's going in Bitcoin's favor to allow it to start rising up. Whether that's going to happen or not, obviously that remains to be seen. But I'm optimistic, and I feel like I've got some good reason to be optimistic here. It's a good bounce. It really did kind of help the market change its posture up a little bit, which I think is always a good sign. And if we go ahead and take a look at this with EMA ribbons, we don't have a whole lot going on here because we haven't really been able to establish much on the 4-hour, and on the daily we just haven't been trending either. So we're still stuck on the weekly, and it still looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is still exactly what you would want to see, in my opinion, as far as EMA hits go. It's still providing plenty of support, and it still gives us plenty of room to drop lower. Again, really, I mean, for this EMA ribbon, as low as 55k, but like I said, you know, you can keep going lower as much as you like, and the only thing you're going to find are more support levels. And I think that's really, really good news here for the market. But let's come take a look at this from a different perspective. Actually, before we do that, let's continue on here. I want to show you the Ichimoku clouds as well, if there's anything interesting. We've now completely closed off this resistance cloud, and it's developed as support, which will be useful for us in early November if we're somehow still here, and hopefully we're not, but if we're somehow still here in early November, you know, that's going to end up helping Bitcoin a little bit, most likely. 4-hour time frame, not a whole lot going on. But let's change up the pace a little bit. I want to talk to you about the upside, right? This is where things get a little bit more interesting. And like I said, you got a couple of resistance levels up ahead. I've kind of outlined the 66k zone. Obviously, the only zone that's missing is one of the key zones we were talking about, which is kind of 63, 62.8, something like that. Basically, this box right here. You know, I do think it's going to be a quick, easy journey for Bitcoin to get back up to these highs if it does. And at this point, we're also now in an uptrend, right? So I think that's also a really big move going in favor of Bitcoin. You know, previously, when Bitcoin was pulling off some of these moves, the S&P 500 wasn't as bullish as it is right now as well, right? I mean, if we take a look at, you know, when Bitcoin kind of got up to this zone right here, you know, it was September 28, and if we look at where the S&P 500 was around September 28, you can tell over here, it was basically at all-time highs, just kind of starting to come down from all-time highs. So not an amazing time. Right now, we're still actively trending higher. So that's going to count for something. Some people are going to care for that a little bit more or less than others. I personally think that now that we've had another attempt, we're in an even stronger posture. And, you know, now the dollar is higher too. I think this is another thing that we were talking about on this channel. Those of you that are subscribed are going to know about this. We were talking about how, you know, when the dollar goes up, now it has the opportunity to come back down, right? So we've also got that going in our favor right now. Is this enough? Again, I don't know. You know, clearly nothing is enough for Bitcoin right now. It's just going to kind of decide to wake up when it wants to wake up. But yeah, I think as far as this is going right now, it's looking pretty sweet. We're inching a little bit higher just while I record this video as well into that resistance zone. So we really just got to see, does this turn into a kind of quick rejection where the price ends up coming back down? I don't think so. Judging by the way it's going right now, it's looking pretty sweet. Do we hold on here for a little bit? Do we maybe get a shallow correction and then kind of, you know, paint something a little bit like this, which would be a bit like a kind of ascending triangle, and then bam, we pop? You know, it could go a number of different ways, but I think as long as we don't get a kind of quick rejection, we're going to be looking pretty good. And that's going to reflect well for Bitcoin. And as far as how that might impact the altcoin market, we've seen Bitcoin's dominance jump right back up to 58% here, literally 0.01% away now. I still think this is going to continue to move higher regardless of what Bitcoin does. I've been saying this for a very long time. I've been correct for a very long time. Standard procedure. It's almost boring to say now, but we're going to keep saying it anyway. I still think Bitcoin's dominance is looking pretty sweet. And so I think it could be continuing to rise up from here. Ethereum, obviously, dipping quite a bit. This is kind of the big bounce that everybody you know, was getting excited over, starting to grab that lotion out from under their desk. You know, that's not working out very well for Ethereum holders right now. So, and I don't think that's going to change. I think that, you know, you got some limited exceptions. Solana's doing well, obviously. SEI and the other one, SUI, doing very well. Tron, you know, continuing to outperform the market very well overall. I mean, right now it's lagging behind a little bit, but Tron's moving in its own pace, and it is paying very, very well. I'm still in the same long position that I told you guys about on Bybit, on Tron. So if you want to get into that, get your piece of that pie on Bybit, get your free bonuses. The link to Bybit is going to be right down here in the description, where you get up to $30,000 just by starting to trade using my link. which is super, super cool because any profits you generate with that money are going to be yours to keep. Apex is their decentralized sister exchange. Super cool, full self-custody. And Blowfin is just a great alternative to all of them, and definitely one of the biggest upcoming players in the game. Sometimes their volume seems to even be higher than Bybit, which is crazy. So they are definitely serious players in this game right now. 1.3 billion. Let's just check out Bybit because I'm just curious now. And by the way, I've been talking to you guys about the Bybit debit card. Super cool benefit, the fact that you get the Bybit debit card, which you can use to spend in the real world. But I'm just curious. Let's just take a look at Bybit's volume while we're here for Bitcoin. It's going to be derivatives, and Bitcoin is at Bitcoin. Yeah, it's quite a big difference today, 9.2 billion, but still a huge number on Blowfin. So yeah, like I said, well worth checking out. Obviously, before you do sign up to any of these exchanges, make sure that you check if you're allowed to use them. But yeah, with that, let's continue on here and just bring it back to the Bitcoin chart and talk about what might happen if we do start to break these resistance levels up ahead. Like I said, I think we've kind of done this for enough time now. I think that if we can start really on a macro scale getting above some of these macro highs, it's going to be very hard to stop this market from going up. You know, clearly we don't have a lot of sellers, and you know, any kind of sentiment has I think it's flatlined largely, right? I mean, you kind of expect it to keep dropping, which I think is totally fair, but at the same time, I mean, you know, there's not a whole lot more that can happen now. You know, I feel like anybody that's been exhausted, that could get exhausted, has been exhausted at this point. You know, are there going to be more capitulation events? I mean, sure, you can always have another capitulation event, but I don't necessarily think that you know, writes this market off, and I still think that we're largely done. You know, it's been over 7 months, so I think that's enough time. And with that in mind, I think if we do start kind of breaking resistance levels like what we're at right now and the next levels, I mean, this is like literally, you know, one of these situations where it's like it's happening right now. You know, like something big could be like literally not like about to happen, like it is happening right now. You know, which is kind of like, I don't like to kind of hype things up like that, but in fact, more importantly, I actually like to stay away from the market when stuff like this is happening, because I don't really jump into things to trade them, you know, just because it looks exciting. I plan my trades out a lot more. Other people are different, but I plan my trades out a lot more. And so, you know, for me, this is going to be a little bit too hot to jump into right now. You know, but it is still very exciting. It is still very interesting, because I think that if we can get above these resistance levels, it really shouldn't be too hard at all to start setting brand new all-time highs. There's just, you know, I just don't see where the selling pressure can come from at this point. And it's been a very long period of accumulation anyway. So I think that's all pretty much largely settled there. And so with that, ladies and gents, I'm going to be heading off for this video. If you have enjoyed this one, you know exactly what to do. Make sure that you do smash up those likes, double check that you are subscribed for this super time sensitive content. We're going to be live or making videos around the clock every time something happens in this market. So if you're up for that, if you want to get more analysis like this, then that's what to do. Hit up those likes and subscribe buttons, double check you've obviously got that bell icon checked. And if you like any of these bonuses, check them out, and just check out the disclaimer as well. But with that, ladies and gents, I'm out. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.